Hello there once again, it's your old pal Locke the Bounty Hunter, and on today's very special episode, we are taking a look at probably one of the most asinine Grizzle videos I've seen in quite some time, and you know me, that's saying something. Because I gotta admit, gentlemen and gents, I absolutely love watching modern women bend logic in order to justify their completely terrible and bonkers decisions. So let's not waste any more time and dive right in, shall we?
The woman choosing bear versus man conversation.
It's not a conversation. It's just an excuse for women to act emotionally impulsive. That's all it is.
I've heard so many things on this, but I really need to call out a very specific thing, and maybe hopefully it will help some men. If you're unaware of this whole situation, it's if a woman's in the woods alone, would they rather come across a bear or a man? And pretty much unanimously, the women say bear.
It's only unanimous because you choose for it to be unanimous. The only ones who actually get any type of exposure are the ones who say bear. There are plenty of women out there who say man because there are plenty of women out there who aren't massive idiots.
And there are some men really struggling with this.
I mean, men aren't struggling with your response. We're struggling with how you could be so idiotic. You assume that when men hear bear, they're gonna automatically get angry, but we're not angry. We're just stupefied that you would make such a petty decision.
You gotta understand that humans in general, especially women who are more emotionally in tuned,
Well, considering that you will challenge someone to a machete fight when you're not in the front of the line at your favorite restaurant when you're hungry, I really don't think that you can play the emotional maturity card there, sister. It's really not a good idea for you.
we have our own experiences to draw on. That's all we have in life. And almost every single woman has had a negative encounter with a man.
Oh, for you!
And many men out there have had negative encounters with produce, but that doesn't mean that we demonize all fruit.
I need you to think about this. Every single woman has had at least one or more negative encounter with a man. And most of us have never had an encounter with a bear.
That does not make sense.
You know what? I have never had an encounter with a chainsaw-wielding maniac. I have never had an encounter with a guy driving a killdozer, nor have I ever had an encounter with an Apache helicopter. But I know inherently doing so for any three of those scenarios would probably mostly be incredibly hazardous to my health and well-being.
So what this means is we are drawing from memory or thought or circumstances, and we're saying what's scarier. We know what a bear is.
No, you don't. You don't know what a bear is, because if you knew what a bear is, you would actually be second guessing your stupid decision.
We know that they're scary. We know that they're powerful, but we also know that unless they're hungry and or protecting their territory, we're probably...
Your intellect is as weak as your dollar. Failure is your destiny. You disrespect yourself and your nation. You are made of stupid.
So I guess those gigantic cans of bear spray are just a novelty gift then? Woman, you do realize that if you run into a bear in the woods, you're pretty much doomed, all right?
And what I've heard multiple times from a woman is, I know the worst a bear can do is unalive me.
Unalive you in the worst possible and undignified way. You think that it would be quick and painless, but it's not. You're talking about a massive 1,000-pound animal with razor-sharp claws and teeth throwing you around, ripping you open, and if you're still alive, you're going to be witnessing some horrifying stuff. That is a terrible justification to make.
But that's not the worst a man can do.
Okay, so that would imply that the majority of men out there are sociopathic serial unalivers. You have no idea how disrespectful you sound right now, because you are just implying that because some dude said something mean to you once, that all of us are just nothing but a bunch of psychopathic murderers. That is not cool, woman.
There's a whole lot more that they can do before the unaliving happens.
Yeah, I can already tell that this woman spends most of her time watching true crime shows. You just know. You can tell.
Now, I understand that this is kind of not my wheelhouse typically.
Then why are you in the wheelhouse? You don't know what you're talking about, and yet you insist on talking about it.
You need to understand that just in general, we draw from experience. And when you've had 1, 2, 3, or more poor experiences with a man, alarm bells say unsafe in these types of environments.
Okay, let's go ahead and break this down for a second. Let's say that you've had 5 relationships where you're constantly choosing the worst man possible. Okay? Now, there are literally over 1 billion men on the face of the planet. Now, what you are saying is that because you have terrible taste in men, that all men share the same qualities as the ones you dated. You are generalizing the entire population of Earth just because some guy said mean things to you. And you're trying to get us to believe that because you had bad dates or you had whatever experiences, that being eaten alive by a bear would be more preferable than dealing with a man. Yeah, I'll believe that during the reign of Queen Dick.
Now, obviously, if you're stuck in some crazy Appalachian mountains and you're needing help and, you can't, whatever, a man would probably be oh God, thank God, somebody found me because you've been lost in the woods forever, right?
Yes, exactly. You just debunked your own argument. If you are lost in the woods, you want a man to help you. And yet that is some sort of a controversial hot take that you would rather say you'd be rather eaten alive than take the risk of being freaking rescued. You really need to listen to the idiocy that you're spewing out.
And I think in reality, if you go to that place, you would want anybody to find you. You've been alone in the woods for 3, 4, 5 days and you need help finding your way out. A man is obviously going to be your best bet.
So what is your point? You said that if you were stuck in the woods, you would rather find a man. I mean, for crying out loud.
But I think in most scenarios, when somebody's thinking this through, they're not thinking, I've been lost in the woods for 4 days and I need help getting out. What they're thinking is immediate danger. If I'm like just a little bit off of a trail, I've been on a hiking trail, I'm a little bit off a trail, what would I rather see? And it's gonna be a bear.
What is the difference, woman? In both cases, you are lost in the woods. It doesn't matter if it's 4 days or 4 minutes. You would rather come across a man to get you back on the trail so you can get on with your life, okay? You can't just say, oh, well, if I'm only lost on a trail in the park for like 5 minutes, I'd rather run into a bear. But if I'm starving in the middle of Appalachia, of course I want a man. It doesn't work that way. There is no specified scenario. It's a very simple question, and you feel the need to have to change the rules in order to justify your terrible decision making. And you are doing a terrible job, by the way.
And again, it's because we don't have experiences to draw on. Now, anybody who's had an experience negatively with a bear or has a direct tie to that is going to have a different story.
That really shouldn't be an argument, though. You know bears are dangerous, and you know that a bear will kill you. Even though a man probably, odds are, won't. They'll probably help you. Well, not anymore, considering that there's no incentive whatsoever to help you, and we have nothing to gain by helping you and everything to lose, namely by the hand of the woman we're trying to help.
I think that this part of the conversation hasn't been talked about. The fact
No, it's been talked about. No, you never shut up about it. You would rather talk about why you'd rather be wrong than actually prove us right.
that our memory, our core memories that we have is man is dangerous.
Okay, just because a man said some mean words to you doesn't make him dangerous. It means you're a terrible judge of character. You cannot blame us for your terrible decision making. It doesn't work that way.
So our alarm bells will go off.
No, your emotions go off.
Please, men, instead of taking this personal, As much as I understand some men that don't understand this, it's because you're innocent and you're around innocent people. And I think some are just dangerous and don't want to understand it.
There are dangerous men out there. That goes without saying, just as much as there are dangerous women out there. There is no such thing as living in a world where you're going to have 100% safety. At the end of the day, you need to take some responsibility for your actions. You can't just blame us for this. And also, considering the fact that a majority of the men out there are innocent, it kinda sorta proves you're wrong anyway.
That happens too. But do you know how we change this narrative?
You shut up about it and go back to making sandwiches?
As we start treating women as our daughters, our mothers, and sisters. We stop giving them a reason to fear us. I don't know why I'm saying we, but you.
Okay, so you automatically assume that we're dangerous and now we have to go out of our way to convince you? Or you could, just accept that not all men are psychos. I think that's a little bit more reasonable.
You start to hold people accountable. You stop getting in that wolf pack mentality, and when somebody's being a dicky do-balls, you call it out.
No, we're not going to do that. We are not going to shove our noses in other people's business. That is a good way to get shanked, woman.
A buddy's cheating on his wife, you call it out.
Nope, not doing that either. To quote Gypsy,
Do you please maybe help?
No way! This is your dishwashing liquid! You soak in it!
A man's being disrespectful in a bar, call it out.
so your solutions are to butt into other people's business and risk getting hit in the back of the head with a freaking bar stool? Calling a dude out in the middle of a bar just starts a fight. I take it as a point of pride that I have gone many years, decades even, of not taking a whiskey bottle to the face. And after a while, you get kind of proud of those streaks. I am not about to call out someone's behavior, especially when it's none of my business. That goes double for when I'm in a bar. There's just no way I'm doing that.
The way that we stop this fear from women feeling this is other men have to call out this poor behavior.
We're not going to do that. We are not responsible for controlling the behavior of other people. We are only responsible for controlling our own emotions and our own behaviors. We take responsibility for our emotions and our actions. You are saying that we must be held responsible for your terrible decision making, and we need to somehow cherish your assumptions and convince you that the world is a safe place. But I hate to break it to you, sister, it's not. The world is an unsafe place, and because the world's an unsafe place, you really kind of sort of have to learn the virtue of common sense. I know it's probably going to be impossible for a woman like you, but try. You might be able to surprise us in 40 years.
That's it. It comes from y'all. Because until women start having positive interactions with men, and obviously we do have positive interactions, but we need to have more positive interactions.
Then choose better men. If you're having nothing but negative interactions with men, it's because you are choosing bad men. Choose better men and you'll have better experiences. I know, go figure, right?
And few to almost zero negative interactions.
So hold up. Let me get this straight for a second. You're saying that the only way that you will actually start to respect men is if every single interaction that you have with men from now until the day you croak has to be positive. And until that day happens, you're just going to continue to rip on men because apparently being eaten by a bear is preferable to a guy who says 5 words to you that make you slightly uncomfortable. Got it.
Unfortunately, the bear's gonna win. And that's just a sad reality that women live in.
You know what I've come to realize with this whole thing, and I'm probably late to this particular party, but these women hate men so much that they want to blame them for everything, right? And we hear it all the time from the men that we feel sorry for the bears. Like, woman, why do you hate bears so much? Why do you want to torture bears with your decision making? What did the bears ever do to you? How did the bears hurt you? And I just gotta tell you, woman, you're not gonna get anywhere in life by acting like a massive bear sandrist. And that's gonna do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. And as always, if you find that my particular brand of comedy is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and leave a couple of comments, and be sure to share this video so we can give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for checking out the new video, and until next time, peace out, homies.